The Applification of Samsung, a video by Vanguard. This is the video you'll be watching today, and apparently by the title this will be about how Samsung has become more like of an Apple enterprise. I don't know how exactly are they gonna speak about like agreements between Samsung and Apple, or maybe this will be more about how Samsung itself, hardware and software-wise, has become more and more similar to Apple over the years. I bet on the second possibility, but I'm very excited. This is going to be very interesting, and let's get into it.
Mark one of the biggest shifts in Samsung's history. A shift that took Samsung, a company once known for innovation, creativity, and culture, and slowly turned it into Apple's copy.
Here you have it, clear confirmation on how this video will be about 3 smartphones which have marked apparently, according to this video, how Samsung has become more and more of an Apple copy. So basically they're making the premise that in the beginning Samsung was very original, and over the years they've become more like Apple. And I agree to this, but I would reframe it in a different way, because I do agree that trends are to be followed if you want to be successful in your company. So I would say that Samsung is just doing the best possible move they can, which is follow the trends. And who's setting the trends? Well, Apple is setting the trends. Now, of course, bear in mind that I do not agree that everything Apple does is the right thing to do. No. I have seen things being set by Apple as trends and other following, which I do not agree with, and there's so many of them. We can start with taking things out of the box, like the charger, one of the worst trends ever, so yeah, but let's continue to watch.
But Samsung didn't give up and got very aggressive the following years, releasing a new S model every year with bigger and more upgrades. This period felt like the Cold War, but Samsung...
So here the video takes us into a quick rundown over history of Samsung against Apple and how they were fighting from the very beginning, and Samsung was just, fighting for their life in the sense that they feared to be erased out of existence, just like Nokia was by Apple, arguably. But yes, we can see that more and more they were releasing more and more models to compete with Apple, and did they succeed? I mean, I don't know. That's what we'll be analyzing, because on one hand you can say that they did succeed because they do exist to this day. But on the other hand, and I guess this is what the video will present us, but we'll have to wait and see, you can also argue that maybe they disappeared in the sense that they became an Apple copy, so maybe their personality, like the uniqueness, was erased.
Removal of the microSD slot and the removable battery, but the microSD made a comeback with the Galaxy S7.
So here we're presented with one of the phones that marked a change in Samsung's approach, in the sense that this Galaxy S6 brought a lot of things to compete directly with Apple, namely Samsung Pay to compete with Apple Pay, and NFC to compete with, well, Apple's NFC. And we also have fast charging and a premium build, and of course this came with some compromises, namely the battery stopped being changeable, and microSD disappeared as well. And this is interesting because even though at this point there were compromises made that were never made before, they were never done before, all phones had removable batteries at this point, still there were more things being added than removed, so the balance was positive. So, and this brings the question, what happened? What has changed so that in the current times there are more things being taken out than new features being added?
Other side. First Samsung phone with iris scanning and facial recognition. First Samsung with an infinity display. And first model to feature a USB-C port.
Guys, this is just yet another comparison of how things were still being added more than removed, but I just put this here for you guys to see, how long has USB-C been adopted in the Android world? 2017, guys. Just for the people who are still amazed to this day on how iPhone has adopted this new thing called USB-C and USB-C charging. It's been around for a very long time.
Samsung removed the microSD card slot and the charger from the S21 box. All under one motto: cutting costs, increasing profits, and slowing down innovation.
And here, as you can see, guys, we're already in the era in which things are being taken and very few new features are being added. Why did this imbalance happening? Why is costs being benefited over innovation? What happened? I mean, we all know what happened, and it is a sentence that has already been said during this video, which is good times make bad companies, and I agree.
A company that once was an example of innovation and creativity has now become a brand that mainly cares about profit, aka Apple's copy. And to be
this is true, and yes, it is what it is, and Yes, this is what the smartphone industry unfortunately has become, just a competition to who sells the most devices, because there's really nothing else to do. Like, everything has been invented, just to say it like that. At least so far, nothing groundbreaking has been found out. We have graphene batteries, but other than that, it has stagnated. The market has peaked, so companies are investing more money into the marketing so that they can sell more in the only way they can, which is by marketing. They cannot invent something. Maybe it's even too risky to invest money into something that may not end up with something like doable, or that will be able to be put on a device. And it's sad, but it's sad for us who remember how great the tech industry was back in the days. But thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. I'm Techinthehouse, and I'll see you next time.